Oh, what's up, world? This is gum.mp3. Welcome to my studio, which is really just my apartment with a bunch of junk everywhere. I'm here today with UJam to talk about my album Wagenmuzik 2 and how I was able to use the UJam LOFI and Distort plugins to achieve a certain textural quality on my synthesizers and my bass lines. So, if that's cool with y'all, I'm gonna hop on Ableton, I'm gonna open up these project files, and hopefully you can take on some tips and tricks along the way to use on your own songs. So let's do it. All right, the first song I want to take a look at is called Dream from Another Life, and this is the original trance mix. Let's take a look at the instrument rack I got pulled up, where I have an instance of SRX dance tracks and an instance of Analog Lab. Now, dance tracks, I've loaded up a pad sound, and I'm using UFX Distort to retain some of the modulated characteristics of it, but I'm using slam and adjustments on the high cut to give it a compressed, kind of sampled feel, even though this is a virtual instrument. Let's play this virtual instrument with and without UFX Distort so you can hear the difference. The second component to this instrument rack is an instance of Analog Lab, where I have an undulating bass sound, this kind of sequence bass that I need to sound lo-fi, just like with the first pad that we looked at, but I also want to boost the low end a little bit because it's not quite present enough for my taste. So I'm using UFX LOFI with my all-time favorite preset, low end fat. I love low end fat because I can just throw it on, crank it up, and I'm good to go. And that's pretty much basically what I'm doing here. I got a pretty aggressive mix. I got a warm drive to the finisher so I can give it a little bit more punch, a little bit more drive, and really take advantage of the characteristics of the tape saturation mode that's enabled here. So let's take a listen to this sound, this bass, with and without UFX LOFI so that you can see the difference. Alright, the second song I want to take a look at quickly is called Love Languages. On this song, I'm layering two instances of chord trident, one being a plucky live sounding bass and the other being a synthetic glitch bass. On this second layer, I've achieved the glitchy sound by passing it through Shaper Box, but in the process, I've lost some in the low end. So I'm using UFX LOFI to restore that low end. You can already guess what preset I'm going to use. Yes, indeed, I'm slapping low end fat on that, cranking the mix up a little bit. I'm still using warm drive on the finisher just to give it a little bit more punch, a little bit more presence. And that's it. It's resolving all my issues again. And let's hear this bass sound isolated and then in the full context of the song. On this third song, Move Slow, I'm doing my best dance hall interpretation, so I need my keys to have proper Jamaican swag. In order to achieve that kind of dubby sound, I'm using UFX Distort once again with the ring modulation preset. I have a pretty conservative mix. I've changed the finisher from short and dark to extra wide. What this is going to do is give me more granular control over the stereo space as opposed to just turning on and off that toggle wide button. I'm also adjusting the high cut in the presence of the amp cabinet so I can get these keys to sound gritty but not overly distorted. Let's take a look at this sound before and after UFX Distort so we can judge how dubby my keys are. As you can see, I'm using these two VSCs not necessarily to change the core sound of these virtual instruments, but really to adjust how they sit next to each other in the mix and to enhance certain textural qualities that I like. Now, you might use these two plugins in a more experimental fashion and create some brand new sounds, but that's on you. I want to see y'all do that. I'm gonna keep slapping low and fat on everything. So I'm looking forward to see what y'all make. Thank you to UJam for having me and let me talk about Wagenmuzik too. And that's all from me. I'll holler at y'all next time. Peace.